Hey everybody, it is a live a day for the month of May, and I'm Penny, and let me put this knife away. So, I alluded to this the other night, and I got on a barbecue tangent, and I didn't get to finish talking to you about the wonderful world of coffee. Now, I am not a barista in any way, shape, or form, nor am I a coffee connoisseur. I actually don't give a crap. Honestly, I just want my coffee. But if you want to be fancy, I'm going to show you how to make some bougie coffee. Okay, the reason that I got on this whole coffee kick was because I read this little vignette. I love to read these horrible stories in Reddit where people are completely bitching about, people that are clueless. And so this wedding party, this bride was wanting coffee, and she told her bridesmaid, go make a pot of coffee. And the bridesmaid's all like, pot of coffee? How do you make a pot of coffee? I just use one of these and I just stick it in the machine. And the bride's all, you don't know how to make a pot of coffee? Oh, so I'm going to show you how to make a pot of coffee. So bear with me, I'll be right back. To make a pot of coffee, you're going to need a coffee filter, and you're going to need, I'm going to flip you around. Okay, you're going to need some kind of a coffee pot. Now this is a brew station. It's got the Keurig side and it's got the coffee pot side. Now, the majority of your coffee pots have a place for the coffee grounds and the coffee filter, which is this basket thing, which should have been cleaned out this morning, but I didn't, so bear with me. Now that's totally compostable, so you don't really have to throw it away unless you want to. But what you're going to do, you're going to rinse your cup, and you are going to put the cup back where it belongs, and you are going to add a half a cup of grounds to 8 cups of coffee. And you're going to put the half a cup of grounds in here. Now, it's very important that you do a half a cup and a bit. Now, I know, you're like, and a bit? What the hell's a bit? A bit is like an extra tablespoon, and it's just that little extra bit that just makes it that much better. So that's how you make a pot of coffee. You fill up the coffee pot, and you pour it into the back, and you hit brew on carafe. Boom. You get coffee. Now, there's other ways of making coffee. There's percolated coffee, and there's drip method and stuff like that. But my husband called, and he said he wanted some coffee. So I decided that I was going to get out this guy. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this guy, this is a Vietnamese coffee press. It consists of a little lid, and inside there is this little strainer that screws in, and there's another little strainer there. Okay. Now, you get a cup. I'll be right back. You get a glass, and you get a cup. Now, the cup is for the hot part, the glass is for the final drink. So, you get a cup that your little pot thing will fit on. So, I've got my husband's Merle Haggard. My husband's name is really Merle, so that's his little Merle Haggard cup. So we're going to put the coffee press. I think my husband's home. So, the type of coffee, just a minute. Amber! The type of coffee that you use for Vietnamese coffee is actually this stuff. This is the coffee de mol that comes from Louisiana. And the reason that this is really good in this particular Vietnamese coffee is that Vietnam was actually known, had the French there for a little while. And so the French, anyways, so the French had a very big influence. This is fun. Okay, so the French had a very big influence on the Vietnamese, and so that's why the French coffee that they serve in New Orleans is very popular in Vietnam. So, anyways, so roughly you're gonna do about a quarter cup. So I've got a quarter cup here. So we're going to put that in there. So roughly a quarter cup, okay? And you're going to swiddle it around a little bit so that it gets flat. Now the next thing you're going to do is I've got water that I've boiled, but I've let it set. So I'm going to pour that in there and just a little bit. And I'm going to put the lid on and I'm going to let it seep. And by seeping, I mean that I'm just going to let it kind of fluff up them little coffee grounds. So, normally this particular type of coffee is served with good old sweetened condensed milk. And they put it in the bottom of the big cup. And once this percolates through, then they pour this into the glass. Now remember though, a lot of times they serve the glass with ice in it and the sweetened condensed milk. But glass and boiling liquid are not really good friends unless you temper the glass first. And by tempering the glass, you just put a little bit of hot water in it, swirl it around, throw it out. And so that makes the glass better able to handle the hot water you're going to chuck into it. So this has been seeping for a few minutes, and as you can see, the grounds are softened now. So we're going to fill up the rest of this. And then we're going to take our little plunger. We're going to put that in there. And we're going to let that percolate. So I wish I had used a clear vessel because then you could see what was actually happening. But so that's going on. Now, in the glass, we're going to add our sweetened condensed milk. Now, if you were actually having Café du Monde style coffee, you would actually use evaporated milk and you would heat it up and then you would add that to your coffee. But in this case, we're just going to use a little sweetened condensed milk and we're going to put it in the bottom of our glass. So the first thing, we're going to go temper this. So we're just going to put a little bit of boiling water in it, just a tiny bit. So, because we don't want this glass to explode in my hand. So we're just going to temper it up a little bit. And then to the bottom of the cup, we're going to add just a little bit of the sweetened condensed milk. So we're going to use an iced tea spoon, since this is a pretty tall glass. Now, if you like it really sweet, you add a lot. If you like it just a little sweet, you just add a couple of teaspoons. Whatever you like, if you like a lot. So you can also add a little bit of boiling water to this if you want to soften it up a little bit, which I'm going to do. And I'm going to check. And we are all percolated out. So now we have a little teeny tiny cup. Basically espresso. And we're going to throw that in. You see how dark that is? So there you go. Vietnamese coffee. So now there's also a French press which is basically a giant version of this. And then there's your coffee pot. So there you go, a little quick lecture on how to make coffee. So until next time, don't forget, I love you. Talk to you later. Bye.